Ho, 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 podcast listener. This episode of JJ Meets World was recorded live at the JJ Meets World Christmas party. It was a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of people, and they teach me a little something about the magic of Christmas. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of JJ Meets World is brought to you by Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. Natalie has a proven track record to get your home sold faster and for more money. She is consistently focused on her clients' needs and wants throughout the entire process and make sure that they are well taken care of. If you're looking to buy or sell, reach out to Natalie today. On average, Natalie sells a home every 3.74 days. That's at least 2 a week. And last year, Natalie earned her clients on average over $4,000 above list price on their homes. And you don't have to take our word for it. Here's some of the great reviews Natalie has received. I was overwhelmingly impressed with Natalie and all the Hatch team. She was very responsive and responded to all of the emails within an hour. She gave great advice and encouragement from the listing and pictures, the offer, and all the closing details. The marketing team knew exactly how to promote my property, and I was pleased by how soon and easily my property received an offer. I was actually dreading selling my condo, and Natalie did such an awesome job that I felt like I really didn't need to do anything. The thing I most appreciated was that she really listened to what I wanted to do and respected my decisions. I would definitely recommend Natalie and all the Hatch Realty team. They made this process so wonderful. That was from Diane. So listen, if you're in the mood to buy or sell a home, give Natalie a call right now. You can reach her at 701-388-9338. Natalie, Natalie, at hatchrealtyfm.com, or you can go to livefargomorehead.com. That's livefargomorehead.com and find out some information. Huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring JJ Meets World.
1, 2, 3, 4. JJ Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. JJ has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Oh, Conor, that's not how you use the bongos, man. Give them to Jessica. That's hilarious. You guys seen JJ? No? JJ. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Just Jessica, not like that with the bongos, please. Thank you. JJ, what are you doing hiding behind the Christmas tree?
I don't really feel very Christmassy right now.
JJ, you hear the talking behind me, right? We have all these guests that you invited to this Christmas party. You told me you wanted a Christmas party. I got everyone here. They're playing Donkey Kong bongos and they're eating the cookies that Jill made. I think you should be out here talking to people.
I really appreciate it because I know how hard it was to get that Jimmy Stewart impersonator to come. And I mean, he's great. I just don't feel very Christmassy.
He's still on the clock. I mean, you can still see his Jimmy Stewart impression, but what I really need you to do is, you're the host of this podcast every week, and right now I need you to be the host of this party as well.
I just think it's sometimes, I can't be on all the time. That's the thing, is everyone expects me to be on all the time, and I can't. And I get I kind of get the winter blahs, and I get a little sad around Christmas, and I think about people that I miss at Christmas, and I think about, the year's ending. Did I accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish? And I know I said I wanted this, but now in the heat of the moment, I'm feeling a little social anxiety here.
I'm sorry you're feeling that, bud. I mean,
I hurt my back because I was lifting that TV.
Well, I think at the very least, you would get some enjoyment out of just talking to a couple of people. Like, you being behind this tree right now isn't going to make that sad feeling go away. I know you're in a rough spot. I can appreciate that. But what I could appreciate even more is you getting out from behind that tree, putting your big boy Santa pants on, and talking to some of your guests, which we invited here, right? They came here to see you, to talk to you. The guests are getting a little aggressive right now, and I think that's because their host isn't here.
Do Is there any of the meat and cheese tray left?
It depends on if Sally's wolves got to it or not. She brought 2 of them.
Fine.
Okay. Well, let me just check on the meat and cheese tray, and
Can I at least sit? Can I sit in the side room?
No, JJ, you need to walk out here and mingle.
Okay, fine. I'll do it because you've been such a great producer, and we had such an awesome year at JJ Meets World. But I just gotta I'd rather lay on a bed and have people throw coats on me.
Okay. Well, we can maybe end the night that way if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
That'll make you feel better.
Does. It's kind of what I'm into right now. If you check my Google history, and there's a whole subculture of people who
I'm aware of your Google history. We use the same computer here at JJ Meets World.
Okay.
Get in there, JJ.
Okay, fine. Oh, hey, CJ, how's it going?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Good. Thanks for coming to the party. Everyone's having a good time, I guess.
Happy Christmas.
Yep. So, will you say Happy Christmas?
I do both.
Is that just because there are people who say Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But then there are a lot of people who say Happy Christmas because that's what they say in England.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be English, I guess, is the thing.
No, I kind of just rolls off the top of my tongue and see how it goes. So.
Do you ever throw out the Happy Holidays?
Every now and then I usually say Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year kind of thing. But, if I'm just trying to do a short conversation, I'll say Happy Holidays.
It's good move. For whatever reason this year, I have forgotten to end conversations with Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Sure.
And somebody said it to me yesterday, and I said, yes. And I felt bad. Because I thought, well, what is with this year in particular where I'm forgetting about just a casual greeting? And you only get to say it once a year. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because Thanksgiving came so late, and then I was out of the country for 10 days. And it was in the Caribbean, so it doesn't look like Christmas there either. And everything just feels late to me this year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I don't know, just because of the polarization of our culture lately, that it's just you don't know what the other person's perspective is on things, that you don't want to be like, Merry Christmas and F you,
Right.
So, yeah.
Hey, maybe you'll remember this. One of my favorite episodes of the animated Ghostbusters series is the one where they go through that time warp and accidentally capture the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And then they go back to their time, and Ebenezer Scrooge has ruined the holidays for everyone. Do you ever see that episode?
I have not, no.
Does it intrigue you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch it later.
Cool.
I'll just pull it up. I'm sure you can find it on my phone.
Or something.
We can do that.
Everything's on YouTube now, so.
Hey, JJ.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. The kitchen is all out of lefse, and I could have swore we had 2 large packages of it. Have you seen that second package?
No.
CJ, did you see the... Never mind. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be... You're a guest. I shouldn't be asking you where
It's
the
Carl's lefse.
Is Carl's?
Well, no, that's the brand. It's Carl's lefse. It's made in Holly.
Oh,
Bummed.
okay.
I kind of
Or
want
is
to
it
get some
Freddy's?
lefse.
I can't remember. It's Carl's or Freddy's.
Carl's is one of them. I know that.
Can I top off your eggnog for you, CJ? Need
Yeah,
anything
that'd be
else?
great.
All right,
Thank
I'll
you.
get some. So, you okay, bud? You, JJ?
Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't get a piece of lefse to begin with, and so it's kind of disconcerting that we're out of lefse now. But
Well, I'm gonna go dig around and
I
find
hope
it,
you find it.
and I better not find it in your office again.
okay,
All right.
well, we'll find out. I can't remember if I took. I don't remember if I took the lefse or not. I probably did. Are you?
James, check JJ's office. It might be in there.
Do you like your lefse savory or sweet?
Butter and sugar.
Butter and sugar?
Yep.
I think that lefse, since it's a potato dish, should be savory. So I put butter in it, but then I'm dipping it in my gravy.
Ah.
Right? That's the way I'm consuming my lefse on a day-to-day
You like
basis.
to soak it up with the napkin style, so.
Yep. Right, exactly. I'm surprised what maybe I'll try it this year, but take your plate and just put lefse as the base of your plate, right? So as you're eating your meal, when it comes to the end and you've got all those delicious juices everywhere, you just roll up the lefse, eat it, and then you don't have any dishes to do.
Does that work with a burrito style?
I think it really would.
Yeah.
Well,
Norwegian burrito.
So here's my question, right? So Norway and Mexico couldn't be further apart. But yet they've got these same cultural foods.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. Lefse is pretty much a tortilla.
Right.
It's the exact same, right? And then you find the flatbreads and stuff in other countries. So is that really the cultural, the universal cultural feel? Is that you need a flat carb
Right. Yeah.
That's what
Well,
we share
I'm curious
in
to
common.
know, like, and I have no way to fact check this, but like, was yeast imported to those countries? Like, did they not have yeast that made it rise?
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that is a good question.
that would be my assumption, just because of that. But I mean, that's what causes bread to rise. So yeah.
Is that what the colonials like did when we were colonizing? We just brought yeast. We brought yeast
Probably,
everywhere,
yeah.
and then
So-
opium.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why like the Kurdish flatbread. I mean that and the matzah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is unleavened bread. So yeah.
Oh man, see there you see we're talking about the deep stuff here.
Right.
that I
Exactly.
Really,
So
let's quickly touch on this because you're my video game go-to guy.
yeah.
2019, how did it end up video game wise?
Very good for replay games, and I think the industry as a whole. There's still a lot of speculation with like the whole streaming thing going on, just because like Google Stadia's kind of gotten rug through the carpet and stuff like that. They struggled pretty hard to get going, but it sounds like it's hit or miss based on your location and how good your internet is. But kind of things that we already knew going into it. But no, replay games is doing really good. We still seeing record numbers, which is always nice. So and like the numbers keep going up. So, but yeah, no, it's fun to sharing that camaraderie. And like November was a big month with like. We had Star Wars Fallen Order come out, The Death Stranding, Pokemon, Luigi's Mansion, just some really big hit titles. And then we kind of think we found a niche for ourselves too. I mean, not that we didn't have a niche already, but like an even deeper niche. That one of the things that I've talked about with like we're not going to compete with Walmart or anything is how can we go about doing stuff and not compete with Walmart? And so imports are definitely the way to go. And so Play Asia, we've become a vendor with them now.
Really?
Yeah, and so we're getting like new import titles and new limited games that are limited run on a physical copy. So one of the ones we picked up was a game called Death Road to Canada, which if you like the old Oregon Trail, it's kind of on that inspiration where for some reason to survive the zombie apocalypse, safety is in Canada. And so you're trying to get from, I can't remember where you start from, but you go to Canada for your safety net. And so you have to try to survive and manage your resources to get there. And so it's been on Steam for a while, but then because of its popularity, they did a physical run version. And so it's kind of cool because when you get these limited run games, they have like a stamped certificate of, hey, this is number 2807 out of 3,000 printed copies. So you already have this exclusive game then for that. So
Well, that's awesome.
So we've gotten some really already quick people jumped onto that train for special ordering games through us. So that's pretty cool.
Do you think the industry as a whole kind of when there's a new console coming out, there's sort of this stalemate that ends up with games because they're like, well, we know we're going to make it for the PS4,
system,
but we
yeah.
also want to kind of release it with the PS5.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be weird with this next generation just because of the streaming side of things. The Xbox X Series, I don't know if you've heard anything about that yet. Mm-hmm. It's basically a glorified PC. I mean, it's running the Xbox Windows framework, but it's this weird like vertical pillar of a console. It looks really funny to me. But the PS5 is still kind of hush hush on specs and stuff. But no, I think with how this last holiday season went, it hasn't slowed yet. But next year will definitely slow down as we get that anticipation for the launch of the next console. And then Switch Pro is coming in like March-ish, they're thinking. So yeah.
I finally fired up my Nintendo Switch this year. I got one for Christmas, but I was so busy. It wasn't until almost May that I finally plugged it in and started playing, and I am over the moon with it.
I really enjoy playing on Switch. Between being able to take it with you or just chilling at home or whatever, it's just really nice to relax with that console, and then like your gameplay is not interrupted because then you can just take it with you wherever you're going. So
I took mine with me on the plane, and so I was able to play Link's Awakening on the
loved that game.
Oh, so good, right?
Yeah,
we have got a real passion for throwback gaming right now.
Yeah.
That is just awesome
Yep.
because I think we're doing so much with it. I got the DuckTales Redux
Nice.
when it first came out, and
For the Wii U?
and it was awesome. I loved playing with it. And then I got the Disney Afternoon collection, which DuckTales is part of that, but it's also got the Tailspin game. And
Yep.
somebody was telling me too that Disney is either they released or they're going to re-release like the Lion King, Aladdin game and stuff like that.
I know
you can
that
buy a
they've done
bundle.
the Lion King Aladdin bundle, and then they're doing like a updated version, and they're like a way you can do the classic version still too, which is interesting. But yeah, the Link's Awakening game, I actually went through and played the Game Boy version first.
Oh yeah,
and I played like the OG like black and white version because they also released it for the Game Boy Color with an updated dungeon. But this is I played the OG black and white original Game Boy one, and then I went right into the Switch version after that, and like I loved how they kept everything true to the original with the Switch version, except they added more of those secret seashells. She sold seashells by the seashore.
the secret ones, the secret seashells.
Yeah.
What do you think about this this trend that like is it 1UP Arcade has started where each year they're releasing a different mini cabinet?
Yeah. It's really taking storm, I think, just because I've had a lot of people ask how come I don't have any of those in store, and it's like, well, those are $300 a piece, and then $300 versus a $60 game or whatever, and it's one of those things that eventually it'd be fun to get into that market, but it's one of those that's not a priority right now. Not to mention the amount of money it takes to get that going. So, but there's a lot of people that are really hyped about those, and they're doing a really good job with how they're running those games. That they're keeping it true to the originals and running on modern hardware and stuff. So yeah, it's a form of emulation still, but because of the hardware is designed around that emulation, it's working better than just trying to play it off your computer.
Right. It's got the screen size is appropriate to what it's supposed to be.
Ratio is correct. And that was one of the things that was really cool when I talked with Bill from Fargo Pinball. They have Turtles in Time arcade machine that is running on an RGB screen. Like it's an LED RGB screen that it's pixel perfect then, and it just looks gorgeous.
Awesome.
Because that's one of the first things, like you look at it and you could tell if it's not a CRT screen because it doesn't have that curve effect. Yep. And so I was like, whoa, this looks really good. What'd you guys have to do for that? And he was telling me about how they have to get a board converter to do that for them. So it was really cool.
I think we're at a golden age now where people who grew up putting in coins into a machine at like Pizza Hut to play, Mr. Do, are now getting the great opportunity to say like, hey, I'm an adult and I've got disposable income. So I want to get this. One of my favorite parts about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game that 1UP has done is they included the real artwork that was on the side of the actual cabinet, like just shrunk down. The
marquee and everything.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's gorgeous. And so you get part of it. I will say this though, the one downside of this is it's got the 4-player control panel. 4 adults do not fit around there. So even in one of their promotional things, you see that there's 3 people and then somebody else who's playing like Raph is actually standing behind them, just like pushing the buttons with their arm reached out.
Well, I mean, you think about like we're both broad-shouldered guys, so like trying to get even 2 of us around that's kind of hard. So
and I think part of them is like, well, yeah, because we made it for kids and kids could do it. And I'm like, kids aren't asking for this for Christmas. Adults are.
Exactly.
Looking forward to 2020. What do you think is going to be? What do you think is going to be the thing that people are going to want from Replay Games? Oh, by the way, I got to tell you. Your setup when the farmers market's going on next door is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
It's awesome. So if you're looking for a great farmers market experience, you can go to the Red River Market and then just hop right across the street. And Replay Games has a giant tent filled with games for sale. Yeah, that's so cool and so much fun.
Which is a lot of fun because then like Friday nights I have to bundle all the games up to get ready to bring out in the next morning. But it was fun. It was we did that throughout the entire farmers market this year, which was an interesting experience for us. And then it was nice that we were they're next door, so we didn't have to like get a special booth spot. But we definitely got some decent business out of that. And it's always fun because then we have our sign out front too that will say like, this is where we're at, which is really cool to see that. And it's just been, a new way to market to people, which is always the hardest part with any kind of retail. So, yeah. But for 2020, I think the biggest thing is people are going to be wanting to check out these new consoles without shoveling out $500 plus controllers and games and all that. I think our goal is to get 4 of each of those consoles. We're expecting to spend about $4,000 just on those consoles, and then not including tax and then the peripherals and all that. So we got a budget in mind for like $6,000 just to get through all that. But the first phase we're going into actually I should say the first step is we're going to our second phase of our startup now, where we're working on buying out our debt. And so basically it means that we're selling debt to pay off higher interest rate stuff. So one of the things that we want to talk with the bank about is dealing with like, hey, you sold us our first loan with this business plan that we had that was just an idea of replay games, and now that we got real data and real numbers to go with it, it's like, could we talk about refinancing that debt? So we're hopeful with that discussion coming up here soon. We haven't scheduled a date or anything like that, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting that every startup kind of goes through these more or less general phases, but every time that you come to the table, the drawing board, it's always a different process for every business, and you don't really understand what that means until you're into it. So that's been really fun. So, but yeah, no, it's good to see how we've grown and like how the community's responded. Like I tell all of my customers, it'd be a totally different discussion if we open up the doors and nobody came. So it's like, you believe in your idea, but when you get a community that supports it, that's been really validating. So,
hey guys, I'm really sorry to interrupt. By the way, I'm really happy how happy you're making JJ right now, CJ. He's been a grumpy Gus all morning. CJ, you know how you set up that Donkey Kong Bongos game over in the corner? Mm-hmm. Jessica and Conor have been playing it, and I'm pretty sure Jessica hit them too hard that they may have broken. So I don't mean to drag you away from JJ, but if you could, when you have a second, maybe stop over here
take a
and
look at it.
See if we need to duct tape it, or I'm not sure what's going to work, but it doesn't make any sounds anymore. It's got a big hole in the top.
Hey CJ, Merry Christmas.
You too, JJ.
See, I'll remember that this year. Yeah. Did you find that Lissa?
No, I'm still digging.
It wasn't in my office.
I'm still digging.
Well, thanks, CJ. It's good to see you. And if people want to check out Replay Games, give us the info again.
We're just downtown next to JL Beers. So the exact address is 502 1st Avenue North and right on the corner of 5th and 1st. So, yeah.
Cool beans. All right, there, Tucker. I talked to somebody. Is that good enough?
JJ, you talked to one person. There are 500 people here.
Well, you can have multiple personality disorder. You don't know that. I could have just talked to 50 people.
I do know. I screen every guest that comes in. JJ, you need to talk to more people.
At least you just tell me who you want me to talk to.
All right. Looks like Sally has given up looking for the animals that she brought. So why don't you go talk to her, and I'll pick up figuring out where these animals are at.
But she smells like a zoo.
I know, JJ. Go be a good host to our good guest, Sally Jacobson.
Hey, Sally, hey.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good. Are you enjoying the party?
I am. It's really cute. You guys decorated really nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into that.
Right, but everything is Bob Dylan video.
Oh, yeah, right?
I know.
Okay, good. I'm glad
one?
you know the vibe.
Yeah.
Everything is very flammable, though. I want to just warn you right off the bat.
Okay.
So
I will be very cautious with this candle.
Okay. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for bringing a candle. Like, we appreciate that a lot. We put that on the invitation, and no one really took us up on it.
It's relaxing.
So how are things? How's everything at the zoo?
Oh man, it was a really busy year, but super awesome. It was a great summer. We've had like about 120,000 people come through.
Really?
Yeah, super nice. And we've got some new animals in this year and planning again for next year. So always something new.
That's pretty exciting. One of my favorite episodes this year is when you invited us out to the zoo and we got to do a walk around.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You learn so much. And I've been telling people all the time, I'm like, if you get a chance to get a guided trip through the zoo, organize it for your company Christmas party, whatever it happens to be, you can really get a deeper appreciation for what you guys are doing out at the River Zoo.
I love being able to tour people. That's one of my favorite things, really, truly, because then I get to go really nerdy into all of the stuff that we do behind the scenes that the normal visitor doesn't always realize. And I'm always trying to look for ways to kind of educate people in a fun way, but the tours are the best way to do it.
Well, what happens when we get a freak snowstorm? Like the one in October that dumped a ton of snow on us.
Ugh, yuck. We were ready because we saw that one coming. So we had to pull all of our fish and everything. Of course, we have these areas in the back of the zoo where all the fish go in the winter time. So we were ready for it. But endless shoveling is basically what happens. Because we have to shovel out every exhibit. If like the otter exhibit has those walls, but it's open air on top. And in the wintertime, it could pile up a little bit too high. So
and you gotta be, I think when we were looking at the wolves, we asked that question of you gotta make sure that there's no snow near the gates because it could pile up big enough where they jump off if it crusts over hard enough.
Yeah, we're always checking trees too to make sure that all the trees are really sturdy. If you get a bad storm, you don't want a tree to come down on top of an exhibit or anything like that. So we do have people there 24 hours a day monitoring that type of stuff.
Oh, so how do you advertise a night shift at the zoo?
We have somebody that lives on site, which is super
What?
awesome.
Nuh-uh.
I know, live at the zoo. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, that actually sounds kind of fun.
I want to do that too.
It's you sort of get this wilderness experience right out there.
Yeah.
I had meant to ask you this before, but when a movie comes out that focuses on a particular type of animal, do you get a lot of people who come out with a new excitement about that animal?
Yes, we do. And actually, it almost seems like you can see a trend in what animals are popular over time. It's really weird. You know, for quite a while, the sloths have been really popular. You even see them on T-shirts and things like that. So then people immediately gravitate towards the sloth when they come to the zoo. It's odd. And I know that movies affect it, but I'm not quite sure what else affects that in pop culture. So
Well, and like for some reason, foxes a few years ago were the hot animal. I think that "What Does the Fox Say" song really got people thinking about. But then you see it on baby clothes, you see it on pop sockets on phones. It's just foxes were everywhere.
yeah, so you try to like latch on to that popularity and find a way to educate people in a really fun way, being that they're so interested in that particular animal that given year. So I feel like alpacas or llamas are the next one that are kind of coming up right now.
yeah.
I'm seeing them a lot, like at Pier 1. If you see it at Pier 1, you know that it's hot.
Yeah, that's the truth, right? Yeah. That's why I have a bunch of the Mexican glassware with the blue rim on the top.
Yep.
You know, and I have a lot of clothes that match it as well. Blue rimmed clothes. Those did not take off the way I thought, but you know, so when you take a present, it's probably some of my blue rim clothes.
Right.
By the way, there's some gifts underneath the tree. You can take one when you go. We didn't put anybody's name on anything.
Oh,
so.
you're not doing the white elephant thing this year?
No. We thought white elephants have had a bad rap.
Sure.
You know, and so I want to be 100%,
It's
open with
unfortunate.
people.
I brought an actual white elephant.
Did you
but,
really?
I could just bring it back home. That's fine.
No, I mean, you brought it. You transported it all the way here. You might as well. And Tugger said that you were going to bring some wolves too. And are they just kind of roaming around?
Yeah, party animals. They're checking out everybody.
That's cool. What with the zoo? Do you guys have to like ever go to like the state or talk to your legislators?
Yeah.
Legislators
To
about
advocate.
like what's going on? Is there like a political part to localize zoos? Because I know you're part of a big national group that probably is working on that.
Yeah, the national group
level.
has to work really hard and they go to DC at least once a year and kind of advocate on behalf of animals and the environment. But locally, not too much. I mean, I do work with local politicians and things. One thing that we are looking at, actually Charlie Johnson is kind of heading up that initiative, is looking at the legacy funding and seeing if there's any opportunities for funds to be available for all of our attractions regionally, which would be really, really nice. It would be a big boost, I think, for both our tourism and our way of life here. So that's the main one. And then, of course, we work with the state vet and stuff like that, but it's not really a political thing. It's more just keeping up to date on all the regulations and permitting.
Is it weird for like North Dakota to be setting vet guidelines? Because I feel like cows and horses, maybe goats, no sweat, but that state vet sort of regulation and policy, are they calling you and saying, hey, what animals are you bringing in? What should we be on the lookout for? Yeah,
so we'll reach out to them when we're planning to bring a new animal in. And our vet and our curator are well aware of all of the, standards that have to go into place. But we always reach out to them first because there's permits you have to get ahead of time. And sometimes it's animals that maybe we haven't brought into North Dakota before. So you want to make sure that they're understanding that they'll be coming in. And their idea is they just have to they look at all the risks and they look at zoonotic disease and make sure that you have everything so it's preventing something bad from happening.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever finish your camper?
No.
I know you were working on that, and that was a pretty interesting project.
It was. I'm going to work again in the spring, right? It just got so crazy busy towards the middle of summer at the zoo. Is just so busy that my spare time, I didn't quite have it. But it's been a really interesting process. I learned that, you can remove an entire floor from a camper with a butter knife. And I also learned that my neighbors get very nervous when they see me with power tools. So I actually got some help from neighbors.
There you go. And they step up and say like, we'll help you with
Let
this.
my husband come over just for a minute. Next thing I know, half the wall is up. I'm like, okay, good.
One of the stories that you had told me when we were touring around the zoo was about having to, it was a plasma transfusion for one of the camels.
Yeah.
And having to just at moments, I was like hop in a car and meet someone halfway from Minneapolis. And I was thinking about, because you said you pack the kids in the car and they didn't really know what they were going on this adventure for, but they were a part of it. Do you find that as an executive director, it's hard to balance that family life with the expectations and needs of an organization like the Red River Zoo?
Yes, definitely. But what what the blessing in it is that being the CEO, I can bring my kids with me if I need to. And I feel like really that's giving them a good work ethic as well. So if we have something big coming up, the kids will come out and help me make cotton candy or help volunteer greeting people or whatever it is. My daughter is super awesome at putting together the gift shop, which is cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, and I make sure to make time when I can. And I have a pretty good staff that can take over for me if needed. So if the kids are off of school, I'm able to try to balance that out a bit, which is nice. But it is very demanding because it's like having two families, your zoo family and your kiddos at home.
I just think what a fun experience to have your mom be at a zoo like that. And so you get this zoo experience. Yeah,
you get these little perks. Like my daughter, I brought her and a bunch of her friends for a sleepover at the end of the school year in the wolf cabin. So kind of cool experiences like that they don't get to do anywhere else. So
hey, JJ, sorry to interrupt, guys. JJ, did you see where I put that bottle of Crisco?
Yeah.
There's a white elephant that's stuck in the men's room, and I'm going to try to get that sucker out of there, but I need something to grease it with.
Put it on top of the radiator so it'd be good and loose.
Okay. Is this your white elephant?
It may be. I can help you out with that in a little bit if you'd like.
How does he deal with grease?
I guess we're going to find out, right?
Yeah, well, you guys keep
might
chatting.
need a lot.
I if I can't get him out of there, just throw the wolves in there. And
if you need the original cast recording of Grease, I don't know how it would help, but maybe. If you want more grease, I've got that.
Get his hip shaking. I can shimmy him through this door.
Sure, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't love? It's not the movie one, so it's no John Travolta.
Fine. It's not an emergency. Like I'm having fun hanging out with this elephant anyways, so it's totally cool that he's stuck in there. I'm just gonna get him out though.
I also have some peanuts in my office.
No. CJ took those with him when he left.
He took all of my copies of Charles Schultz's Peanuts.
He walked out of here angry, and I don't know what it is you said to him.
I'm just reading the room.
All I know is he went over to where Conor and Jessica are playing with Donkey Kong bongos, and then he just walked out, like, pissed.
Well, it's probably because they ruined the bongos.
Okay, top up anyone's eggnog before I come back.
I'll take a little bit there.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to go back and grease up this elephant.
I just like some of that Crisco, just in a cup.
I was going to take all of it to get this elephant out of here, dude. That is a small door for. I don't know how he got in.
Fine. So another cool aspect I would think of your position there is getting to know all the other zoos across the country. Is there like a once a year like ZooCon that you go to?
Yeah, ZooCon. We go to. There's an annual conference every year in September. So that's accredited zoos from really truly around the world go and attend that one. We have about 3 conferences a year. So there's that one mid-year, and then there's one just for directors, which is pretty cool too. Because being in this industry and managing animals, especially endangered animals, you really do need to rely on each other to help us all succeed. So
I've also never had a chance to have a conversation with someone who makes decisions on a gift shop.
Oh, it's my favorite thing.
So tell me about what it's like to run a gift shop, because the zoo gift shop is really fun because you've got stuffed toys, you've got activities, you've got clothing. There's a lot of stuff in there.
There is. And it's so important because being funded being funded as we are, we really do rely on that earned revenue. And the gift shop, it's just such a fun experience for kids because if they might go see, say, the parrot out with a zookeeper, and then they'll be able to buy their own parrot to take home. But I love doing displays. It's really an art. And so, the big zoos have companies that come in and take over their gift shops, but that's one of the things that I really enjoy, that we were able to kind of have control over that and get creative on our own. I love it. Who knew that there'd be so many different kinds of plush animals,
Right.
What? Yeah.
Well, and I suppose you're looking, do you buy them in do you get a catalog, or like how do you choose the animals?
Oh yeah, we get tons of different catalogs and things, and then also when I go to these other zoos, I kind of spy on their gift shops and talk to them about what the hot sellers are there, or how they're displaying something in a really interesting and new way. I think the biggest thing, one of the coolest things we did this year is, you like to have, of course, plush that are our animals, but you also I like to mix it up and have ocean animals and things like that. And I got in these animals that were really odd that nobody hears about, like blobfish. I found plush blobfish of all things. And I brought them in and did a whole display on kind of the ocean's weird animals or whatever. And they just sold like crazy. And kids were like, blobfish, I want one.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
So putting myself in your shoes, I'm looking through this catalog and I can intentionally choose stuffed plush animals that are realistic looking to the animal, or an abstract, maybe more cartoonish version of an animal. Ooh. Do you choose animal by animal, or do you say, I want them all to be in one vein or another? Let me give an example. Okay. I would never want to stock realistic looking snakes. I would want to stock like big, fun, multicolored snakes. But then when it came to like a platypus, I want a realistic looking platypus.
Right.
So
and
tell me.
Sometimes in the catalogs they look like, oh, that looks like a realistic platypus, and then you get it and it looks like roadkill. You're like, whoa, what's this? So you gotta be careful with what company you go with. But you just hit like a hot topic, and the opposite actually causes arguments. Yeah, because some people want just the realistic. We are a zoological institution, but then it also those sweet and sassy snakes and sweet and sassy pandas sell really well. So we've managed to come to an agreement of like kind of a mix of both.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
But so are you coming down to an animal by animal? Do you have anything where you have the same animal in both styles?
Yes.
What are we talking about?
Like say wolves. Wolves is one you want to get ones in both styles. And there's the wolves, pandas, otters are hot sellers. So we always have to make enough budget to get enough of those ones in because they just go. But every once in a while you come across, like I found a plush takin one year and I was like, holy smokes. It's like the holy grail of our gift shop stuff because nobody sells stuff takin, and nobody even knows what takin are. So
yeah, I have no idea what a takin is.
Score. Yeah,
what is a takin?
They're kind of basically a giant goat. They look like bison. We have them at the zoo. They're national treasure of China. Yeah, the big blonde.
And it's got like a little creek that runs through their little thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're just so cool, and so few places have them. So who would think you'd find a takin? So I just was like doing cartwheels that day. Like, oh my goodness. Of course, the sweet and sassy otter sold faster, but still, I was pretty proud I had a takin.
Yeah, why not, right? You gotta anticipate what the people are going to want, and also what the people will be intrigued by.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There was a thing in the 90s that was very popular in zoos, which was to have like a screen printing machine on site that you would buy a t-shirt that says like the Red River Zoo, but then they'd put your name on it.
Oh, yep.
And the only reason I know it was popular in the 90s is I went to 3 zoos that had them, and then I watched a movie called Mother that featured a zoo in a segment, and they had the same thing there.
So awesome.
Do you ever want to get personalized products in there? Like, you don't have like a bunch of keychains that say Red River Zoo and then like, Brenda on the other side, do you?
We don't. Keychains are really popular, but yeah, we don't have anything that's like personalized. Wouldn't that be cool? I need to time travel back to the 90s.
Get a screen print machine. It's super easy. And like,
I think I have one in storage somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Thanks
there
for the
you go.
idea.
Yeah. I also think that like, if I could see one thing in the Red River Zoo in 2020, this is what I'd love to see. And you can probably say like, JJ, we already do that. You need to pay attention to our Facebook page.
I'm listening hard now.
But custom like art as part of like the Red River Zoo, I think would be really neat, so that you could go in and know that each month there's a different t-shirt design, let's say, and you can incorporate a local artist who does, an abstract of a wolf in this one, right?
Yeah.
And then the next month somebody does like it looks like a giant blueprint of what the zoo is at that time. And I just feel like
that's cool.
Those are things that people really want. And I'd love to build up a Red River Zoo like clothing section
Yeah.
of my closet.
Yeah, no, that'd be really cool. I like that idea.
You can
I
run
thought
with
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do animal art too, and have like the otters paint something, and have some little paintings or postcards by the otters in there.
Do the otters paint?
Yes, yeah, the otters.
really?
Quite a few of the animals paint as part of their kind of enrichment protocol.
Do you sell the paintings?
We used to we add them into like our donor things, the higher level adopt program. But I really would like to incorporate them into the gift shop like on a daily basis, because I think it's really cool.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
I almost bought, that pig in like South Africa that was painting that was really popular, and like it looked like an apple. Like he painted essentially what he wanted to eat.
Oh, right.
I almost spent $500 on one of those. And like they send you a really crappy low quality video of the pig painting that particular thing so that it's legit.
Right.
And I'm like, so if I bought this art, I'd have to hang it on the wall. Then I'd have to buy a small television that I could put next to it that just would have on a loop. And by that point, you just say, just forget it. Just tell someone a pig painted it, and if they don't believe you, they don't believe you.
Right.
But the otters paint they hold a little brush. Are they doing it with their paws?
They just kind of do it with their paws, and they play with with the material, and just kind of, it's not intentional, obviously. But some animals actually do. Elephants and some great apes will intentionally paint when they're doing it. But
do you think if you gave them a lump of clay, like not necessarily that they'd sculpt something, but like what they take away from it
they'd
could become
probably
like
try
a
to
sculpture?
eat it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Otters like to eat stuff, huh?
Oh, they're very chewy. They're very, very chewy. Yeah. Because you think about it in the wild, like they have really, really fast metabolisms, and they got to catch fish. So they are just like major biters. That's the sound, I guess, maybe? I don't know why I did that.
That's what I was labeled like in my elementary school.
Major biter?
Like a major biter. Watch out. Yeah.
Oh,
That must be the elephant. Huh? What's the elephant's name?
Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
It doesn't make any sense. I just think it's cute.
Yeah, Johnny be good, right?
Yeah,
if you're gonna name a white elephant, it might as well have a human name.
I love human names for animals. I think that's
too.
really funny. I don't know why.
So we have a toy poodle at home named George, and I think if his name was like Bingo or something, I don't think it'd be as funny when I say George pooped on the carpet.
Right.
Because that's hilarious to me.
Me
It's funny
too.
every time.
And then I always picture myself like calling them, like,
Yeah. Right?
Brad, come back,
Yeah. Right.
I love it.
Who lives in your house? Well, there's Brad and there's Janet and 2 Alexes. So I think that people really like that kind of thing. But I think that maybe I would just say go help Tucker with that, because I'm worried that he's going to just decide to cut a hole in the wall to get Johnny in.
Yeah, I've dealt with Johnny a million times. I can get him out. It's not a problem at all.
So,
I'm sorry.
Sally, what's your white elephant's name? Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny.
Does he have any food sensitivities? Because he just drank all 3 containers of the eggnog out of the fridge.
Oof, okay, that's not gonna leave a pretty present for you guys. I'm really sorry.
Those were all alcoholic eggnogs too.
Was it rude
all
to bring
alcoholic
an
eggnogs.
elephant? I thought it was cute.
No, you can always bring an elephant.
He does kind of make a scene, especially after drinking.
I also
I'm
have
sorry.
not found your wolves, so I'm going to have to steal you away from JJ for a moment.
Okay.
If you could help me with this,
Yes,
please.
definitely. So sorry.
All right, Merry Christmas, Sally.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. It was nice talking to you.
JJ, have you said anything to Greg yet?
No, I was just thinking that maybe I'd go and get stuck in the doorway like that elephant, and that way I don't have to stay around as long at the party.
Oh, dude, I'm going to have to put your sad lamp on like an extra setting tonight. Where's all this morose attitude coming from, buddy?
I kind of get the holiday blahs sometimes, but like, tell you what, let's talk to Greg, because he's usually full of holiday cheer. He'd never say something super depressing to me to make me think about, loss or not having anything. I'm sure he'll just perk me up right away.
All right, well, you talk to Greg, and I'm going to take care of a few things over here, and I'll come say hi in a minute.
Hey, Greg, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for inviting me to your party. I enjoy holiday parties, even though I'm an introvert.
So you're enjoying this one?
I am so far. I've seen a few people that I know and love, so it's always a pleasure to be in their company.
That's good. I just decided while walking over here that we should probably have a charitable aspect. So would you like to give to a charity?
Yeah, I I will include that in my year-end giving plan. I like to do that too.
Go good. Because like I could rustle up an old KFC bucket if you want to like throw a couple dollars in there. Yeah,
well, that is a really good idea. I like. I'll just name a couple of my favorite charities. Hospice of the Red River Valley. That's one that I love what they do. They've been a positive in my life for a number of different tough times. That's a real downer.
No, that's a good one. I mean,
Christmas.
I think,
but that's
yeah.
Grief is the uninvited guest, right, at Christmas time.
It certainly is.
And we should just acknowledge that, the elephant in the room, right?
You are hitting the nail on the head.
Hey, did I just hear you guys are acknowledging the elephant in the room? I'm looking for it. Sally brought an elephant, and I haven't been able to find it.
Oh, my word.
Well, I mean, we'll find out.
He was in the
It's gotta
bathroom, but
be.
he greased himself out somehow, and I'm trying to figure out where he went.
I couldn't imagine it fitting in there.
Greg, it's
That'd be
great to
amazing.
see you.
Great to see you.
The gingerbread cookies are all ethically sourced.
Smell good.
Yeah, so please help yourself to that. JJ, do you need
Fresh.
anything right now? Are you being a good host? JJ?
Yeah, I'm trying.
You seem a little down.
It's the holiday season brings me down. I think there's such a hustle and a bustle all the time. And then there's the inevitable, it becomes the 26th at some point, right?
Yeah.
And the season all of a sudden gets put away and forgotten about until next
Right.
year. And so I have a hard time with the holidays where you just suddenly like it's over. 4th of July, you continue like going and spending time outside with friends. You're just not doing it with fireworks anymore.
Right.
Memorial Day is the kickoff to the whole summer season. Labor Day, the kickoff to the school year. So that kind of continues on. But Christmas, it's got that final date and boom, it's done.
And then there's just that long stretch in January where it's just cold and dark.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are bumming me out. I'm going to go back to finding this elephant, but thanks for coming, Greg. And
Sure. Well, we can talk about happier things.
Whatever you can do to raise JJ's mood would really help me and this show. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't know what I can do, but I'll try.
I will say this. Thank you for coming out to the Muppet Christmas Carol
that was
we
fun.
had a couple weeks ago.
I hadn't watched it for years and years, and really enjoyed. It reminded me, and I'll give a shout out to another guest who's not here at the Christmas party, Mike Schultz. When that movie came out, when the trailer came out, we used to say to each other, "Light the lamp, not the rat." And we still like occasionally that'll just pop up, and it's one of those things. Well, if the circumstance allows, you say, "Light the lamp, not the rat." So
it's great though.
It's a
good part from that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about it.
That movie is 27 years old, and I think it just gets better.
It does. It's a really good version of that story. It's really top flight.
Do you think maybe A Christmas Carol is one of the most adapted pieces of all time?
It's way up there. I love things that are in the public domain that appears to have a free reign to do what they will with it, because you're right. Your comments before the show, it's one of the top, if not the top version of A Christmas Carol. Now I know the Alistair Sim fans would put a challenge to you as the very best version, but it's great. I remember seeing a black and white version in second grade on 16 millimeter film in Mrs. Capitan's class, and it terrified me. I think a lot of kids who see the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come as the skeletal hand, they get freaked out by that.
I was just having a chat with CJ, who you probably were out there with.
I saw, yeah.
And I brought up the fact that one of my favorite episodes of the Ghostbusters animated series is the one where they accidentally capture the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And
that's
then
fantastic.
Scrooge becomes like the overlord back when they go back to their time.
That's fantastic.
So good, right?
I've never seen that episode, and I think Forrest has watched all before it left whatever I think it was on Netflix or one of the streaming platforms until recently. He was just watching them. You would have been proud. I think I mentioned it. He was just like multiple episodes a day. He got enamored with the real Ghostbusters. I know. I don't even have to nudge my children in certain directions with their popular culture. They're like hardcore Simpsons fans, and not many. Even my students at school, most of them have never seen a Simpsons episode. The majority. Are
they upset with the aspect ratio debacle on Disney Plus?
Knew. They caught wind of it, and you can tell in certain things that it can ruin a joke here and there.
I was watching the Camp Krusty episode, and there was clearly something that was cropped out, and I was very upset because it's a great sight gag. I think it's when they show this is Krusty brand grade F gruel. Yeah. It's not even good gruel that they're being served.
Have you been to Krusty Land at Universal Studios?
Yes, I have.
It was such a gem. It wasn't even on my radar, wasn't even prepared. And when we spent 2 days at Universal thinking that Harry Potter was going to be the big draw, and every single one of our family members, we fell in love with Krusty Land and the recreation of Springfield. We ate at Krusty Burger, and we hung out more there than just about anywhere else in the park.
It was so lovingly done.
Yeah, like I love the that it's sort of like a classic boardwalk, old-fashioned carnival with all the carnival games. Violet won a Blinky stuffed fish for me, a 3-eyed fish. So I've got that at home.
Okay, so let's switch over to some media from 2019.
Yeah.
What sparked your interest that you saw this last year?
Oh my gosh, it was a great year for horror movies. I don't know if you're a horror fan. I'm a horror fan, and it was just lots of long triples and home runs. I thought Midsummer was great. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I thought Us was terrific. The Nightingale isn't really a horror movie, but it's directed by Jennifer Kent, who made The Babadook. And that was, I thought was a great movie too. It had horrific themes in it. How about you?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying my least favorite movie of the year was Midsummer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
How come it didn't work for you?
When I was, first of all, I couldn't wait for that movie to end.
Yeah.
And it just kept going and going and going.
So needless to say, you haven't watched the director's cut with an additional 45 minutes of footage.
Although I have also not watched the director's cut of Batman versus Superman, which people tell me actually makes it better. Like that extra 30 minutes, you really get a better movie out of it.
Can you polish a turd?
I don't know. And that's the thing is they said they're like, listen, I know you probably saw the theatrical cut and it was awful, but if you see this, you're going to like it. And I was like, I don't see what
I
could
like
be included.
That there are people who are gluttons for punishment that they'll say, if this movie wasn't bad enough or long enough, we're going to give you even more now to digest. It's sort of, did you hear that Cats, as of today, they're putting new versions.
Yes.
I had to scramble to see it before they updated the VFX because I wanted to see. Did you hear this? It is bizarre that the studio and Tom Hooper clearly at loggerheads, but that they thought it would be a good idea to PR-wise to update the running time hasn't changed, the cut hasn't changed as far as I know, but the fur has somewhat changed. I thought Cats was just it was kind of fun. I have to admit, it was kind of fun to watch that.
So I knew I was going to see it because I'm a lover of musicals.
Yes.
But I really knew I was going to see it when reviews are coming out saying this is something a human being should ever see. And you go like, okay, well, if it's that bad, I've got to see it. Like I've got to
headlines
experience.
have been selling it. Even though it's gonna flop, I love all the pun. There's a good collection you can just find. Of course, catastrophe is like perfect. I mean, it just wrote itself. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself at the movie.
So did I.
I wasn't even sure sometimes who was who among the cats.
Right.
I mean, I knew Taylor Swift was in the movie, and then afterwards I was like, oh yeah, that was the Taylor Swift cat, because it wasn't evident to me. It's hard to miss Idris Elba and Judi Dench and Ian McKellen. They're pretty clear. But some of the other ones I was like, who are some of these folks?
Oh, I caught Rebel Wilson all the time because they're like, we're going to write some really great dialogue for her.
I wonder what Andrew Lloyd Webber thought of just writing kind of bad, really broad puns for her, referring to herself as the crazy cat lady. It was some groaners. It was some groaners for her.
I had heard that Tom Hooper hadn't even locked in a cut by the time the premiere took place.
Yeah.
So they literally brought like a hard drive to the theater that was still warm from being plugged in to get the transfer.
I don't know whoever was, in charge of that debacle. You'd think, should we go up against the last Star Wars chapter or wait? Would it be better to wait a few days or,
Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. I kind of overheard what you guys were saying. I thought I'd step back in.
Yeah.
I found the elephant, by the way. He's with Sally now.
Oh,
We're all
good.
The wolves are still missing, as is Krissy and Arlo. So hopefully they didn't get at the wolves.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is making me think too of the recent Sonic the Hedgehog scenario where they released a trailer and the fan reaction was so severe that within 2 days the studio said, okay, we hear what you say, we're going to revisit this, and they completely redid the visual of Sonic. And there's a ton of videos where they do side-by-side comparisons of the differences, and
Like
not
especially
only
the mouth, right? The teeth.
Right, and it wasn't just Sonic that they changed. They actually changed all sorts of other elements within frames too. And the question I'm leading at then is that, are we in a new era where fans can force film revisions on movies before the movie comes out? And if what you're saying about Cats was true, like they've been changing it, they've been editing the movie while it's been in theaters, basically.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
And what was going on with the fur?
The visual effects of because they were doing some things with the shape of how the characters fit into the cat look, because the humans don't have regular human ears, they have cat ears, so their heads look kind of strange. And that's been, I think it's like a furry's fantasy.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, when I was sitting there, I thought, this clearly, there's a market for this movie, and there's a certain level of fan they're gonna frame by frame this thing.
I heard a story about how they had all this money for visual effects, but one of the things they didn't know that they were going to have to do is take care of Jason Derulo's package.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That was an issue that they had to deal with.
Elba has spoken out. He was upset that they took away his package as well. So all the male cats were fully neutered.
Yeah.
In the movie.
And
they were.
But touching on what Tucker said, so here's my thought on like the Sonic movie. They're going to release that in February, and it doesn't matter the character design. It looks like it's a bad story. It looks like it's a Rocky and Bullwinkle style movie. And so unless you're going to improve the things that make a movie memorable, I don't think it matters what version of Sonic that we ultimately get.
Right. It's just it's sort of a new era of when like test audiences. Basically, the internet is now the test audience.
Maybe in answer to your question, people will have their own access or their own toolkits to kind of have interactive. It'll be part of what they sell you.
Right.
You know?
Well, I remember even when they first ever showed the Michael Bay turtle designs, and fans were fixing the design within a day. Like they'd go in and they'd make the faces look more acceptable and things like that. So it's just weird. It's such a weird time to be alive where it would have been a completely different movie had they not released that trailer at that time.
Right. Yeah.
I think the big problem that they have with Cats is the fact that Cats itself is a show that has no narrative to it.
It's right. It is a kind of a roll call. I mean, that's a fascinating part, and how they, attempted to make Elba the villain, and he's, trying to pressure his way into heaven, into cat heaven. What do they call them?
Jellicle cats.
Jellicle cats. Jellicle cats they doubled down on the Jellicle aspect of that movie.
If this wasn't our Christmas episode, I'd title it Jellicle Cats.
Jellicle
That's so
cats.
good.
Oh, wow.
But it is amazing, because I posted on social media today, I said, when I saw that announcement, I said, there are people who saw this movie this weekend who will see a cut that is almost like being a test audience and getting to see something where it's, like visual effects missing. Because there's at one point in the background, you can see someone who looks like they're wearing like just gray pajamas.
Yes.
And then it cuts to, like a reversal shot and then goes back. And now that person is completely covered in fur. And so I don't think that they had even come close to finishing this movie.
One of the things on the topic of furries' interest in this movie, why is it that some cats wear clothes and other cats don't?
Right. Like Skimbleshanks, the railway cat, has clothes.
Fall on. I mean, he's got suspenders. It's like we're in a kind of Disney. There's people Porky Pig in it. There's people Donald Duck in it. And you're wondering like, okay, and in one weird spot, this is a minor spoiler, but I think it's okay to say, Rebel Wilson, you think she's nude, but she unzips an upper layer and then reveals that she has some human style clothes under her cat fur. And I thought, this is we're in strange territory.
I am not a huge fan of Tom Hooper's Les Mis adaptation. Another movie where I'm like, come on, man, just end this thing. Like,
But he does let people belt it out.
right, he really does. He really does. But I wonder truly if this is the end of Tom Hooper's career. I mean, this movie, I think this movie's going to lose a lot of cash.
Maybe.
And I think that someone has to take the blame for it. And I don't think it's the studio.
But what if all the stars rally around him? Because if they said they had a great experience making the movie, maybe he can, who knows what his next move is going to be.
It might not be, the studios might not become allergic to him as much as they might be musical adaptations. And, they might see it as an issue with that, because even directors who do Lines of Stinkers still have careers. M. Night Shyamalan is still regularly making films.
He came roaring back. He made he made some money after a fallow period when he was not making money.
Right. I would assume that Tom Hooper still has a career, but not going to be as easy until he makes another winner. We make some more money. But I wouldn't be surprised if, at the very least, they take the lessons of finishing the production first before releasing it.
That would be a good idea.
That's an extra level of
everyone's on
ridiculous.
the same page before you put it in.
Right. Can you imagine if when George Lucas had released the trailer for Phantom Menace, that people were like, nope, no Jar Jar, and he had to go back and replace Jar Jar before even releasing the movie?
Well, this is another clear-cut case, too, of sometimes you have to make an artistic choice, and you have to let, kids don't want to eat broccoli, right? But it's good for them. So audiences don't know what's good for them until they get it. Maybe the original intent behind this was what we really needed, this weird cat human hybrid that has been, and they say they've toned it down from the trailer into this, and I'm like, how does that work?
How does that work?
JJ, I'm going to go get Jessica and Connor set up. They're going to do their first song in a little bit, so I'll take care of that. Greg, thanks for coming to the party.
Hey, thanks for throwing this party.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a little eggnog.
Great. Well, you wrap it up with him, JJ. I'm going to go do this stuff.
I noticed you didn't say Child's Play.
As
for your horror movies.
In great horrors. Well, I thought that Aubrey Plaza was good in that one. I wanted it to be, I guess, a little, it needed one level smarter and one level funnier.
Yep.
Because I was on board with it, and I'm glad I saw it. I enjoyed it in the theater, but it wouldn't make my cut of my favorite horror movies of the year.
It's one of those movies that I saw with my wife and she fell asleep in the middle of it.
And that's not a good sign if it's a Chucky. I mean, if you've got a Chucky doll and it's dull and it's dull enough to let people fall asleep, that's not a good sign.
It's like on paper, the premise, you're like, oh, okay, you're playing into technology. Like we can get behind that.
Yeah.
And then it falls flat. I was really hoping for more from Mark Hamill's voice work on it.
Yeah.
Only because he's so good at voice
very
work.
Good. Yeah.
But I feel like he was toned down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe they held him back. Did you see the alligator movie? Alligators in the house.
Yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed. What was the name of that one? Crawl.
Yep.
Right. That was that. It came back into the consciousness when Tarantino identified it as his favorite movie of the year. So QT took out his golden scepter and donned Crawl, the best movie of the year. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. As those kind of it's an old Dark House movie crossed with the Creature movie. There's tons of those. 47 Meters Down on Caged was another one that I thought wasn't as bad as I thought it might be.
That movie was all about bikinis, is what I thought of it.
You increase from two young women to a group now that are going to go through this cave. And John Corbett's the dad who's the cave explorer. And I'm not going to, no spoilers, but you can take the over-under on whether John Corbett makes it to the end of the movie or not.
What did you think of the adaptation of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
That one was okay. I like some of the design. They were trying to thread the needle, right? Because it's sort of a young adult approach to horror. So it had to be, was it PG-13?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have to hold back on certain things. What did you think of that one?
I was a huge fan of that book growing up, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to adapt,
very
right?
Popular.
Because it's one of the things that I remember being terrified of as a kid. That book was in my fourth grade classroom.
One of my nephews is receiving it as a gift this holiday season.
Oh, there you go. He's going to love it. And it set a real standard because the audiobook version of Scary Stories is, it was the first time I've ever heard someone like act through a story. So, like
is it one voice?
Oh yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
I think audiobooks, because of the popularity of podcasting, audiobooks are, maybe getting a renaissance where a voice actor who's doing all the parts is one technique versus casting multiple roles. I'm a huge fan of Lincoln in the Bardo, and I haven't listened to the audiobook yet. I intend to do so, but the audiobook, because the novel has many, it's almost written like at times like the script of a play, like that you would see on a live theatrical event. They have multiple voices performing the different parts in the audiobook, like really well-known people. Because I think Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally bought the screen rights to that novel, but they're on the audiobook along with a bunch of famous friends like Don Cheadle and Rainn Wilson and others.
I'm a big fan of the Harry Potter series that's on Audible. Jim Dale, who people might remember from Pete's Dragon, like the old version of Pete's Dragon.
Yep.
He's the traveling salesman and the doctor who sells snake oil. Yeah. But his voice work is out of this world. He does a different voice for every single character, and it adds another level of charm to certain parts, and just it's almost like hearing them for the first time ever. And so it's hard as an adult.
Does he do high registers for female voices?
He doesn't go high register. He doesn't do like a Kids in the Hall, like, what are you talking about? But what he does is he like softens his voice in ways. And so in McGonagall, he sharpens every word.
I that is interesting to me, because we listened to some of the Narnia audiobooks, and I think it was Derek Jacobi that was doing the voices, and he would do some harsh stuff with Reepa Cheap's voice, with some of the female voices, and Violet was so used to me reading it aloud that when we were about halfway through on a road trip, she was like, "Let's put the kibosh on this, and you can just read it from here on." So I thought, the one time I'll be preferred to Derek Jacobi.
There you go.
Of course, I have to be in my own home to do that. But
I'm sure you want to go get that glass of eggnog. But before I let you go, are there any holiday movies that you feel don't get quite the acclaim that they should? That maybe someone who's listening to this wants to enjoy.
I'm so glad you asked that. I think every family has their traditions, and of course, there's the category of holiday movies, but then there are also just the movies that families that either happen to be on or that they gravitated towards. The one holiday special that I show my kids every year is an animated short called A Cosmic Christmas that was produced by Nelvana Animation in Canada, right around the same time that they did the Star Wars Holiday Special animation, the first appearance of Boba Fett. And I saw it as a kid on cable television or broadcast, however it appeared in the United States for the first time. And it's basically a telling of the gift of the Magi, but with aliens as the three wise men. So you would really dig this. You guys would really enjoy this movie because the style of the animation is tremendous. The character design is great, and it fits in a nice half-hour time slot. So for years it was somewhat hard to find. I mean, I'm talking like going way back, like sort of pre-internet. It was one of those things where it was always in my mind, like, what was the name of that thing? And I had to track it down. So once upon a time, I located and bought a 16 millimeter film print of A Cosmic Christmas. But now, of course, then YouTube exists. So anyone can find this thing and watch it. And it's worth it. It's worth a look. That and my other favorite Muppet one is John Denver and the Muppets: A Christmas Together.
Which is what we were talking about. Stellar. Yep, it's so great. I only saw it once on broadcast, and then we bought the soundtrack album, and I think we talked about this. The recordings of the songs were different. They were the studio recordings, so some things were a little bit different. Some of the numbers were different from what was on TV and what was on the record album, but we wore out that record. I mean, we just played that vinyl over and over and over and over till we had it committed to memory. I've always wanted to watch footage of Frank Oz in the recording studio doing Miss Piggy
Having
singing
the switch
like
among. Oh yeah.
gold rings.
Yeah.
Because you look at that man and you're like, well, there's no way that he's going to be the voice of Miss Piggy.
Yeah, he is a special performer.
I want to give a shout out to A Muppet Family Christmas, which is my favorite Christmas special that I remember as a kid telling my family, like, I'm not going to eat dinner with you because there's a Muppet special on that I need to watch. And I went downstairs and watched it.
Yeah.
And it is, there's a level of sweetness to this. The story is that all the Muppets decide they're going to go to Fozzie's mom's place in the country to spend Christmas together.
I've never seen this.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Because
when did this come out?
This was 6 months before Jim Henson died.
Oh,
so this is
wow.
like the last like big project that he was working on.
Uh-huh.
And
was he a performer in it too?
He is. So he's.
Okay.
I think this is one of like his last. There's a Walt Disney World special that they did in between there, but I think this is his last like big Muppets project that you can still see today. You can buy a DVD of it, but don't because they don't have all the music rights.
That's
you
a bummer.
can watch it on YouTube. And where people have uploaded it.
Yeah.
And that includes those numbers, as well as over the credits, you can hear things like, and coming up on 60 Minutes, is kidnapping now popular in Pittsburgh?
I love that.
Right? So it's a little bit of history, but what's unique about A Muppet Family Christmas, and you talk about how amazing, multiverses are, Doc and Sprocket from Fraggle Rock are renting Ma Bear's place for a quiet Christmas, and then the Muppets show up. They find a Fraggle hole downstairs. They meet the Fraggles, and then the whole Sesame Street crew shows up.
That is world building.
It is. I mean, it's amazing. They do a 9-minute long carol sing at the end that is so sweet, and the very last shot is Jim Henson looking from out of the kitchen. And he goes, boy, they sure are having a lot of fun there, Sprocket. Yeah, I like it when they have fun, but someone's got to do these dishes. And even today, it makes my heart break in half because you think, well, here he is looking out at the amazingness of what he's done. So I highly recommend that as well. Do you have a little back-to-back with the Muppets and John Denver?
I'm going to look that one up. I'll do it this year. Yeah. It's
brilliantly written. It's vaudeville style. Jerry Jewell wrote it. And so good. I love that kind of stuff. But I see Tucker's beckoning me over there. It looks like there's an electrical fire.
I got to go help Sally find those wolves.
Yeah.
So,
because
do that.
We will lose our deposit on this space.
Uh-huh.
So, well, Greg, happy 2020 and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you.
Okay, could I have everyone's attention, please, real quick? Could I just have your attention? We're going to listen to a song here. Jessica and Conor brought in some instruments because they're musicians, and that's what they do when they go to parties. And I asked them, since they had their instruments, if they wouldn't mind playing them for us. Jessica's instrument is her voice. Conor has some kind of a guitar. I don't know the type, so don't ask. But I think you guys will enjoy this. They're going to perform a traditional Christmas song called A Christmas Song. So if you enjoy songs about Christmas, this one should be right up your alley. Also, we are out of paper towels.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I It's been said many times, many ways. Merry Christmas to you.
That was pretty good. Maybe I'm giving this holiday season a bad rap. Maybe I just need to like suck it up and say like, listen, I'm gonna talk to the next person I see, and let's see, I'm gonna spin around 3 times. Oh, I'm upset on my stomach. Oh God, what smells like sour milk? Oh, I'm gonna go talk to Krissy. She's got a baby. Maybe the joy of a baby's face will be the thing that gets me to start going. Oh, hey, Krissy, how's it going?
I'm good, JJ. How are you?
You enjoying the party?
I am. Yeah, it's nice to get out of the house.
Hey, you had a baby since the last time I chatted with you.
I did. I didn't just find this one on the corner, turns out.
So so how is it? You're a mom. You had a baby.
I did. Yeah, it's relentless. It's it's never ending. It's the best thing I've ever done, and at the same time, the most exhausting thing I've ever done.
What's the thing about having a kid that nobody told you about or prepared you for, and you've talked to other parents and said, oh, such and such, and they're like, yep, oh, I remember that?
I would say the first time they really like look at you and see you, the first time you connect with them and realize like, oh, that's not just a potato that screams at me. That's a person. I made a person. You're in there. I think that's probably the most fascinating thing is watching that entity develop.
How was your birth process?
Traumatic.
Yep, I imagine so. Probably for both you and Mitchell.
Yes. They try to prepare you, and they give you breathing exercises and imaging that you can, process through the pain. No. I ended up having an induction, and inductions are normally a 12-hour process for a first one. Mine was 5 hours from start to finish, so there really wasn't time to unpack what was happening to me. I don't think I've processed a lot of what happened yet, but he's here and he's thriving, and that's what's important.
I read a story a woman was telling about how she had practiced this imagery thing of like, you're on a beach and it's soothing, kind of like trying to put yourself in a different mental space. She goes, that's all good and well. And it helped me on the day of. She goes, but then a year later we went on vacation and I was on a beach and I was stressed out the whole time. She goes, because now I associate beaches with giving birth.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it ruined beaches for this lady. So I hope you didn't ruin anything in your life, because you got a beautiful little baby. It's
I did.
A gorgeous little baby. And already he knows the sign for milk.
Yes. Yep. We're starting to initiate some baby sign language. We started last week, and he can manage milk. When he sees a bottle, he'll make the little fist sign for milk. So that's fascinating too, because now we're opening language, and when he doesn't have speech necessarily, but he can have words.
When they say like babies are sponges, it really is. I mean, he's already learning the connection between this hand motion and what it gets for him. So those parents who are like, oh, I'm going to watch Die Hard and my baby can be here, because they're not really picking up any of it. They absolutely are sucking those things in, and they're listening to Christmas music, and they're, understanding that they can pull the dog on the ears and not get bit if it's their dog, but not other dog. It's just, I'm amazed at watching babies develop. And I'm lucky enough to see, like, I don't have children yet, and that's not why I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to watch my friends have children. And so I only get to see them like once every 4 months. And so I get to watch like massive like changes every single 4 months. So do you have a lot of people who've come out of the woodwork who just all of a sudden like couldn't wait to see the baby?
At first, there's always the novelty of, a brand new baby and brand new parents, and things kind of tend to settle down around that 3-month mark, but it's been really exciting to get to bring him down to like Mitchell's family, because his family is down in the city, so they've only gotten to see him, I think some of them once or twice. So we'll be going down there for Christmas, actually, and it's going to be really neat to get to kind of reintroduce him to them.
Did you know the sex before you had the baby?
We did, yeah. I was one of those hyper-paranoid nurse brain parents, and when we found out we were expecting, because it had been 2 years of infertility, I needed to know everything. So we did the genetic testing down to like the DNA, like genome level. So I knew when I was 11 weeks pregnant that he was a boy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting, and I was expecting a girl, I guess, but it doesn't matter regardless.
Yeah, there are all those old sayings like riding high, it's a guy. Born under Venus, look for and then I won't say it because your child's in the room. One of the things I think about is when you name a human being, did the name come naturally? Was there a lot of discussion? Do you have a piece of paper where you've written 20 different things and crossed it off and then wrote another thing? It's
a profound thing to name a person, and if he later down the line, he gets along to it and he's like, I don't like my name, he can change it. That's fine. But I knew his middle name would be Robert. That was my dad's name. And the first name, I had a list of a few that I liked, which Mitchell, of course, instantly vetoed, and then just didn't provide any input of
like
his
that
own.
One. Okay, yeah. But I just don't like it.
Right. Great. So I got a book with 150,000 names, and I went through all of them, and then I made a short list of 100, down to 50, down to 25, down to 10, and I presented those 10 to Mitchell, and he liked 2.
Oh.
And one was Arlo, and the other was Wesley, and the more I said Wesley Skajewski, the less I could do it. So Arlo it became.
There's an episode of The Simpsons that I love where Marge is pregnant with Bart and she's talking about baby names and she's like, well, let's name him Glenn. And he's like, you can't name the baby Glenn. They'll call him Glenn Pigpen. And then she gives it another name and he does another rhyme with it. And she's like, what about Bart? And he's like, Bart, Cart, Nart, Jart. Nope, that one should be fine. And he never touches on fart, right? Like you think the person who wrote that clearly has named a baby before and has been through that process of like, let's think of everything it can rhyme with and go from there. I'm different because JJ is not my name. It's not what I, have on my birth certificate, but I don't associate the name that's on my birth certificate with my name. If you yelled that out in a crowded room, I wouldn't turn around. In fact, recently I traveled internationally and customs asked me a question on the way back and I'm staring right at this guy and he said, and he's looking down and he said, all right, Jonathan, what'd you bring back? And I just stood there and I didn't answer. He goes, what did you bring back, Jonathan? Didn't answer. And then finally looked up at me and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. A sunburn. So let's talk a little bit about, other than a baby, what you've been up to since last time we talked. How's the tell going?
It's going really well. Yeah. We moved the dates. We used to be the second Tuesday. We're now the third Thursday of every month. So we just had our December tell this week. It's really been flowing smoothly. I think we've finally nailed down what we want the show to look like. We're kind of fine-tuning a couple of the changes we've made, but we've been really excited. We got a little boost in attendance after the Moth.
Nice.
So that's exciting. And other than that, we're just planning for January and starting to get the tell-off in the works.
So the tell-off takes place when?
April.
So there's not a lot of time between now and then to really get that going. When you think about it, it seems like it because that's when we all do our taxes, but all of a sudden it's tax season and you forget how quickly that time flies by.
Yep. It goes really, really quick. I can't believe we're already 3/4 of the way around the sun again.
Do you ever notice a difference in the style of storytelling or the people who come out with your winter tell series versus stuff that's in the nicer weather time?
I don't know if I've picked up on a nuance there. I do think the theme has a tendency to kind of steer the direction of the night. And we kind of unintentionally do that and set it up with, there's some darker themes in some of the darker areas of the winter. Like I think this last one was viewer discretion advised, which, there's some secrets that come out. in stories themed that way.
I always talk to people who say, "Oh, I can't wait to tell this story after so and so passes away." And like, there's one person you can't tell the story during until they're buried and watching you from another plane. And I think of a guest of our show, a young lady who has a tattoo that her parents do not know about. And even though she's a full-fledged adult, she does not want her parents to know. And so that will be a story she can finally show off the tattoo after her parents have died. And I said, well, we all know, and I'm pretty sure at one point I got drunk and I told your parents about it. So they probably know. You should just include it in your Christmas card and see what happens. As we get ready for this festive time of year, which, by the way, I hope you're enjoying the Christmas party that we've put together here.
It's fabulous.
Good. Thank you. Tucker did all the work, but I take all the credit, just like with the podcast in general.
I wasn't going to say it.
Do you have holiday traditions?
Kind of. We like to try and make a gingerbread house if we can. We go buy a kit and stick it together and collect dust for a few weeks until we inevitably feed it to the dogs. We put up the fake Christmas tree and fight with the lights. And we do pick out an ornament every year. Our goal is to eventually have a tree that's all different ornaments that we've collected. So we get to go pick his first one this year.
Fun.
So that's kind of fun.
Do you write the year or anything on the ornament in like a Sharpie or anything just so that you can remember?
No, we haven't. Yeah. So we've amassed this collection of random ornaments from throughout the last 11 years, and we don't really know when they're from. I think his might have like a date on it since it's his first Christmas, and you have to do cheese ball stuff like that.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
We have an ornament that I've put up for years, which is a small serving size paper plate.
Okay.
That has been flattened out, and then there's a cutout of a manger scene in there where someone's colored in crayon like over the top of it, and it's clearly like a child because it's not in any of the lines. It's just putting some color on this coloring page. And for years, I harbored under the assumption that I made that as a child, and that's why we've kept it so long. Well, I did some deep investigating into it just last year, and it's signed on the back, Kurt.
You're not Kurt.
I'm not Kurt. There's no Kurt in my family. We are a Kurtless crew. And so I thought, is this like an ornament that we just randomly got somewhere or got mixed in with our Christmas stuff from somewhere? And we keep putting it up every year. And so my wife suggested that I make an ornament to replace that ornament. And I said I could never be as artistic as Kurt was, so I'll never end up getting one. So if you've got a baby named Arlo, do you think that Arlo Guthrie has got to be a part of his future? Because there's very few Arlos out there.
Right. And I think that was the one association we came up with when we were discussing his name. And I'm like, that's not terrible. He's a hippie musician, sang Alice's Restaurant. Great. Yeah. Sure. I think, I'm not a huge follower of his music, but I don't see why he wouldn't know a few of his tunes and have that association.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a Pixar movie called The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, it's so good.
Right? And the main character's name is Arlo in that as well. So you get all these like famous people saying Arlo. In the second Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen, there's a scene where he's giving all of these teachers at a really sad Christmas party presents that they wanted from when they were little using his Santa magic. And at one point he goes, this is for JJ. And then he hands it over. He goes, Merry Christmas, JJ. And so I have taken that audio clip and I turn it into a ringtone because it sounds like Tim Allen is saying Merry Christmas to me personally. Yeah. And there's a movie coming out this next year with Dave Bautista where his character's name is JJ. And so I'm excited for that because JJ is something you don't hear very often, except for JJ Abrams, but he's just ruined it for me because he does movies that make people so decisive. So I think Arlo is great. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue. He could be a cowboy or a spaceman.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
It's different without being a little too fruity, you know? It's an old name, but I think it suits him. Every single person that we've told his name to has liked it, except my mother, of course. She was the one who went, "I'll get used to it," which now, of course, she seems to have grown accustomed to it. She seems to have approved it now. But I'm like, literally, you were the only person, the only one whose approval I really wanted, and you couldn't even fake it. So I've told her that she will not know the name of 2.0 if there's a 2.0 until the child is here and well. She's going to be off the list.
Any nicknames yet? Like, are you shortening Arlo to anything?
He's been Lolo a couple times, or Arlie. Arlie Barley. Rolls off the tongue really nice. Yep.
I would drink a beer called Arlie
Barley, right?
With
in future in marketing.
Yeah, like pop that baby's face on the side of the beer can. And like, you got me. It's the Gerber Foods of beer. Or maybe apple juice, Arlie Barley. I mean, or soup. Why not a soup?
He could be a soup kid.
A whole chain or a whole brand of barley-based soups.
I better copyright that.
Yeah, you can have that. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
That's my gift to you. Well, I got to start wrapping this party up. I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning, I think, before the party ends. You like that?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Subtle.
The Blenders do the song called All Wrapped Up. And it's WRAPPED. And so it's very apropos that they do that at the end of it. But I'm one of those guys who, even though the party says that it's going to end at 7, I'd rather you start leaving at 6. So I just start to clean up, and nothing really clears out a group like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, you break out the dice and it's time to pack up the chips.
Right, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're done here.
Yep.
But I do understand that we are throwing an after party.
Oh.
So if you want to come to that, you're invited to that.
That's exciting. Let me see if I can find a sitter.
It's going to be in the parking ramp at the Moorhead Center Mall.
Perfect. Just like high school.
Yep, exactly. It looks like Arlo's interested in it too, so we'll rock it out. Thanks for stopping by, though.
Absolutely.
Arlo, it was very nice to meet you, young man. Hey, Tucker?
Yeah.
Listen, I think I kind of figured out what has just gotten me down this whole time.
What's up, buddy?
I ordered you a Christmas present.
Me?
Yeah, and it didn't come, and so I feel embarrassed that I'm here and I don't have your Christmas gift. So, can I just explain it to you?
I'm hoping it's replacement bongos for Donkey Kong, but...
I mean, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday.
Okay.
What I did is I got you The Best of Calvin and Hobbes.
No way.
Yeah, it's a book, and so I'll explain what happens in it so you can kind of get some enjoyment out of it. So it says Calvin and Hobbes, and there's a picture of a little boy and then a tiger on the cover, and the tiger is kind of anthropomorphic, and he's taller than the little boy, and they're walking through the woods, and then it says by Bill Watterson, and so you open it, and the first page is blank. And then you open the second page, and it's
JJ, look, Jessica and Conor, they're right over there. And why don't you go talk to them?
Okay.
Why don't you tell? You know what? I'm gonna go enjoy the gift you didn't give me over here.
Okay.
Because I just watched Jessica walk into the bathroom with the bongos, and then came out of the bathroom without the bongos, and I need to figure out what's going on.
Okay. So just don't let me forget where I'm at. I'm on the
blank
first
page,
it's the blank page.
And that's probably copyright information that's coming in right after that.
Right. Okay. So don't let me forget that.
Sounds good. Go talk to Jessica and Conor.
Hey guys, I heard that you broke the bongos, but that's okay. I gave those to Tucker for Christmas a couple years ago. He probably doesn't even remember. I gave him that as a gift.
Yeah, that was me. I do apologize.
You already heard about that?
Yeah, I did. Tucker came in. I know that he's trying really hard to make this party like a good time. I hope you guys are having fun and mingling with all the other guests.
I'm clearly having a bit too much fun.
Yeah, have you been drinking?
Define drinking.
Sure, consuming liquids, I guess.
Yes,
but
a multitude.
It's free, so we're trying to work on a sponsorship. That's why we've got Yoho Rum out there. Yoho, it's the rum that your dad wants to drink.
Love it.
That's their slogan. So we're hoping that they'll come on next year as a sponsor.
Well, I mean, I think we're succeeding at getting the liquid from the cup to our mouths, but as in handling said liquid after that, no guarantees.
That's awesome. Well, and thanks for making time because I know you guys are really busy this time of year. Probably got a lot of gigs going on out there.
Lots of corporate Christmas parties. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
When you go and play at a corporate Christmas party, are they paying attention to what you're doing, or are you like in the background while they're eating cocktail shrimp?
The second option just described our Wednesday night, actually.
Yeah.
People were eating shrimp as we were playing in the background, and they were like, hey, can you turn it down? No, I'm just kidding. They didn't say that, but...
They've asked me to turn, like, we do custom trivia events with corporate parties. And recently they were like, could you guys like not be so like engaging? Could you guys just like, and I said, you know what? You already gave me the check. I'll do whatever you want me
Sure.
to do.
That's the
We'll
right
stop
attitude.
right now.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I'll go home.
Yeah.
Well, for that party, they also did kind of include us in their entertainment of the night.
Yeah, they like sprung on us, hey, by the way, you're going to lead these Christmas carols and everyone's going to sing it. And so here we are, unprepared because we didn't know. Also, nobody at the party wants to do the sing-along.
Right.
And so we're the bad guys because we're like leading it. Yeah, it was very interesting.
I've performed at a couple of a lot of post-prom events, but a couple of them that have been like, hey, everyone, we're going to turn off the inflatable games and no one can fake gamble anymore. And now we're going to pay attention to this comedy troupe. And I think, oh, great. So it's like, hey, we're going to turn off the fun, and now this presentation
I bet they
can
love
begin.
you.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you guys are interacting with someone planning a company Christmas party, they know they're supposed to have an act like yourself,
Yep.
but they don't know necessarily what that means. Did you find that?
100% every time I book them. And I mean, I don't blame them because, not everybody spends their mornings booking gigs like I do. So I get it. It's totally fine. But every Christmas party comes with one question where I'm like, did you seriously have to ask that? Or like what? Like, what are you thinking about? Yeah. So it's interesting.
The thing that I hate the most is the first thing I ask when someone calls to ask, like, book the line benders is I say, do you know what you're booking? And they're like, oh, well, you performed for my husband's company a couple of years ago, and they said it was great. And I said, that's awesome. But do you know what you're booking? Because if you are hiring, in my case, an improv troupe to come and entertain at your Christmas party, some companies don't need that.
Yeah.
What they need is take the money you're going to spend on entertainment and put it into like a $20 gift card for everybody, and they can leave early.
Totally.
That's what they want.
We just played for an event, actually, and so the event was like from 5 to 11, and the people that went to the event were older, would you say? Yeah, they were older. There was a lot of older people. And so they're from 5 until we started at 8, and they had just finished eating.
Oof.
So they're tired. They're ready to go home. They start leaving. Like the people that booked us were like, you know what? Y'all can probably stop an hour early. And we're like, sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So.
Conor, when you walk into a corporate gig, can you feel immediately whether or not this one's going to be a success?
What do you mean by success?
Like, okay, so you get booked to perform for a company Christmas party at a hotel.
Yeah.
And you walk in at the agreed upon time of when you're supposed to be there, not start, but be
Right.
there.
Yep.
And what's a red flag to you, like when you walk in?
If you look around and you see a lot of staff kind of scurrying around with frantic looks on their faces, or if you see party goers doing that, that's typically like not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
I always think if they've told me that there's going to be roughly like 70 to 80 people and you walk in and the hall is huge,
Yep.
and I go, oh, this probably isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
I should have brought my sound equipment with. I also think that I feel bad for people who are booking holiday gigs because sometimes they have no idea what they're doing, which completely, right? Jessica, you hit the nail on the head. This isn't what they do every day.
Yeah, they don't know.
Right. They'd probably be amazing at selling you like toner.
Exactly.
Like that's no problem.
Yeah, their quality as a human is not determined by their ability to book a gig efficiently.
Right.
I know, which is sometimes hard to remember.
I do think, though, there is a certain amount of people need to figure out what entertainment means.
Yes.
Right? Because it is rude when they say like, okay, well, you're going to start at 7 and that's when they're going to be serving dinner. And I'm like, okay, so people are going to be slopping down salads onto tables. That's when they want to talk, like as their table, or chew, or interact with the staff and be like, can we get another, pot of coffee over here?
Yeah.
It's not the time when they want to be like, all right, everyone, give me your attention. Have things been going since the last time, since we had you on the podcast?
Good.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've been super busy and traveling a bunch, and so writing a bunch, recording this summer. It's been super duper exciting.
Well, super duper. Okay,
Yeah.
so not just super, but we're adding the duper in there as
I'll lay
well.
it down. Yeah, I'm not afraid to put a duper in there.
I like that.
I'll do it.
Let me ask you, as musicians, what's your favorite Christmas song and what's your least favorite Christmas song?
Ooh. Connor has a long list of least favorite, I believe.
Yep.
Well, I really don't like this time of year anyway, but
You don't? Just in general?
yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Gremlins?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that speech Phoebe Cates gives about how her dad dressed up like Santa Claus and then he was coming down the chimney and he broke his neck?
Yep.
It's nothing like that, right?
No.
Okay,
no,
good. Just making sure.
I didn't find a parental unit stuck in our
The chimney
Yeah.
after it starts to smell, like
Yep.
that's why they figure it out.
Yeah, not because he's missing or it's like, oh God,
And then it's the thing that people forget about that story is it's cold out, so they try to start a fire and then the smoke billows back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The
so-
ventilation is not a thing.
Right. So they're frying their dead dad who's been decomposing
Oh
for
my
like 6
God.
days. They started a fire in the fireplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen that movie, but I want to now.
We're gonna have to now.
It is that scene I described is so out of place in the movie that I think
It
it's gone
is.
down in movie history as like this is maybe the worst dialogue that's ever been chosen ever.
I wonder, like, how do they pitch that in a meeting to be like, all right, so
Get
we're it's like we're short on runtime. We really need something to tug at the heartstrings because, like it's a last ditch attempt, and they're like, guys, I have a great idea. People in 30 years are gonna love this. And I guess they do, but for the wrong reason. But
Well, and really it's just now she's been terrorized by little tiny monsters, so she's got one more reason to hate Christmas, right?
Wow.
My dad died. I was terrorized by little monsters. What could go worse,
Yeah, now Christmas doesn't seem that bad, huh, Connor?
right?
meh.
So what is it about the holidays? I mean, last night I had a Christmas Carol-like experience at my house. The ghost of Christmas present came to visit me, but I wasn't paying attention because I was like, he looks like someone and I can't place it. And then afterwards I figured out it was Bruce Valanche. He looks like Bruce Valanche, but I can't remember anything he said because all the time I was thinking, I was like, he writes for the Oscars and he was on the New Hollywood Squares. So at this point, I'm kind of in this middle stage of where I saw my past and I'm afraid of seeing what my future is. But what's going on with you?
I feel like every one is kind of on like not high alert. That's not the right word or phrase I'm thinking of, but like
edge?
Yeah, on edge. I think when you have like all of these like traveling and weather things that can kind of come up, and then when I think you have kind of this expectation of like what the holidays are supposed to look like, and then you're like, my holiday does not look like that. There's either like a sign of like disappointment or just like, I want this time of year to go away.
I've got a long list of bad Christmases.
Sick.
So I always think like, this one, 2019, this Christmas is going to buck the trend. Mm-hmm. And I look back now and I can enjoy these stories and laugh a little bit about them. But at the time, it really puts a bummer on you when you're thinking about those bummer Christmases. Okay, well, that's good. So let's talk Christmas song.
Christmas songs, you're right.
songs.
So first of all, tell me something you like.
I am a really big fan of the Christmas song.
Same. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. The progression is lovely. The melody is lovely. Is there's a song that I don't like? Probably maybe Feliz Navidad, simply because I feel like a fool when I sing it. So I go, let's just skip that one.
I didn't know that was a real song for a long time. I thought it was just the Taco John's commercial.
Yes.
So like when I heard it on the radio and they don't sing like like from Taco John's. I thought, well, wait a minute. What? Someone stole the Taco John's
up.
Christmas song?
Where's my Tex-Mex?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
There's something about Christmas music. Like there's a grandeur to Christmas music that I really like. And it also is one of the only genres of music where when you hear particular instruments, I'm thinking like sleigh bell type instruments, you instantly are like Christmas song.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm listening to Christmas music. I'm not listening to the Hot Summer Jam by Ariana Grande.
Totally. Yeah. There is something special about that.
Yeah. And I think it's a big deal that Mariah Carey took a #1 spot again this year with All I Want for Christmas Is You. What she really wants is all she wants for Christmas is another royalty check.
Yeah. And
Don't
she's
we
getting
all?
it.
Yeah, she is.
Don't
We actually were told this year by like a bunch of people came up and were like, you guys should do a Christmas album. And so I put this poll on Instagram. I'm like, who wants it? A 2020 Christmas album. And it was a lot of yeses. There was like 2 no's and one was Evan, our bass player, who mixes our albums. And so I go, well, that's a no then. so I don't think it's going to happen.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
hey, Tucker. Hey.
I just wanted to, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to bring this up real quick before if I don't see you guys for the rest of the day. I thought I was going to fix the bongos because I thought it was just the top piece because it comes with replacements. You can swap it out. But you filled it with mashed potatoes and left it in the bathroom.
You know what? I thought that you wouldn't notice that. I did because I thought I would eat them.
Well, it turned what could have been a $2 fix into like a $30 fix.
But don't those potatoes look great?
They tasted great too.
Good.
Would you guys like some lefse?
I'm going to pass.
Because
I'm gonna go finish off these potatoes.
we've got some
came here to
lefse.
thank you
We've
for the
got
potatoes.
lefse somewhere.
You're welcome.
I'm just thanking you for the potatoes.
So you lost a bongo, but you did gain a bunch of potatoes.
well, they
and
were my potatoes already, but you just put them in the bongos.
I'm not here to fight with you.
Do you want gravy or?
JJ, let's not hire them to be the house band for the next Christmas.
No,
party,
we're
okay?
gonna keep hiring them.
Well, they've destroyed 2 pieces of my property so far.
Well, that's fine, but I will also say this, that they're not really your potatoes. They're the Earth's potatoes.
I'm referring to the bathroom.
Oh, I gotcha.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah,
You
that
guys-
one was Connor.
Okay.
Connor
Yeah.
destroyed the bathroom.
well, thank you. You're not invited back, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Every now and then I
so
think about
sorry.
how hard would it be to pull this sink off of a wall? Because I think that's a real rock and roll thing to do.
Well, if the 3 of us are doing it, I think it's a high chance
Right?
of it
Yeah.
happening.
I think we've already pissed off Tucker. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So before you guys leave, we're going to pull the sink off the bathroom wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Awesome.
do
down.
it.
Before we were interrupted, I was going to say this year my jam for Christmas tunes is the Holly and the Ivy. There's something about that old classic like Christmas song that I love, and Annie Lennox does a version of it that is out of this world. It's very new agey. Yeah, I really dig it. You can find it where you stream music.
Are you sponsored by the song as well?
No. We tried
Free
to
plug.
I know. We tried to get sponsored by a song like earlier
Not Be
this
Done?
year. No, because the Taco John's.
Taco John's
Maybe
theme
Taco
song?
John's will get in on it though.
That'd be sick.
We were gonna get sponsored by the artist Big Boy, and
Okay.
he sings that song all night. But then he insisted that we record at night, all night. And I said, well, we normally record these in the morning on the weekend.
Yeah.
And he was not going to have it. So then I said, well, is there a large man nearby? And he didn't like that joke either.
Well, I could see how that would piss
Right?
him off. Yeah.
Just didn't get into it.
He insisted we record all night.
Yeah. He wanted to fit the motif, right?
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
He really is committed to his title.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Chuck E. Cheese as a brand is getting rid of the animatronic creatures
Thank God.
because they're sick and tired of paying the like music royalty rights. So I think that actually opens up a new performance venue nationwide for you guys. You could just start going and performing at Chuck E. Cheese. And think about it. They've got an automated curtain system. They've got lighting. It's already set up. You could get into that. You could get into the Chuck E. Cheese circuit.
Can we wear the costumes?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, as someone that is lactose intolerant, I'm so down.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them have a salad bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I, in high school, was like so set on Chuck E. Cheese actually having good pizza. I hadn't eaten there for years, but I was like so set, and I was trying to impress this guy one time, and I go, listen, I know we're like 15, 16, but like Chuck E. Cheese has amazing pizza. Like, let's go. It'll be so fun. I thought I was so cool and quirky. We get there, the pizza sucked, and there were kids everywhere. It smelled bad. It was probably the worst date I've ever put together. So
you didn't have a second date after that?
No.
You weren't like, let's double down and head over to Pizza Ranch.
No, I should have, though. I should have.
I think that...
Good save.
Yeah, you know, I remember at one point we tried to be quirky in high school too, and they're like, hey, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. It'll be fun. And I left my Letterman's jacket there, and I forgot about it. And 2 years later, I saw someone wearing my Letterman's jacket, and I knew it was mine because when I was in high school, no one really everyone trusted me. They thought I was a really good kid. And so at one point I was left alone in the front secretarial office, and I was looking through drawers, and one drawer was full of the patches for every sport and club. And so I took one of each. And so my letter was covered with choir, hockey, EDC, and I had friends who were pissed.
Yeah. Because you didn't earn... Well, I guess you did earn them. You know what? You did earn them. You know what? Congratulations on your achievements.
That was one of my stops when the Ghost of Christmas Past came to visit me. She took me back to that, and she goes, you're stealing. And I'm like, yeah, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
And I mean, am I really stealing? Because my tax dollars pay for the schools.
Totally.
So really, it's mine. Kind of in the way that, Tucker's mashed potatoes really are my mashed potatoes. And so now they're your mashed potatoes as well.
Because we're all on Earth.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're all on Earth, yeah.
I was really hoping you were going to say that you came back to Chuck E. Cheese 2 years later and it was one of the prizes.
Oh, wouldn't that have been perfect?
Yeah, you have to earn back. That sounds like a great movie plot. You have to go back to Chuck E. Cheese and play enough games to earn enough tickets to get your Letterman jacket.
The Eye of the Tiger plays while I'm
the entire time.
Skee-balling it, and doing stuff like that. Earning tickets at a Chuck E. Cheese is weird now. And you know the thing that bothers me the most is they don't even count them. We have differences in ages. For me, Showbiz Pizza is what I remember from my childhood. It was that Showbiz before it was Chuck E. Cheese. But you would earn tickets, and then they would have to actually count them out. So what the guy would do is put them in a row of 5 and then twist back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and then count how many times he had twisted them. And he goes, okay, so you've got 400 tickets here. And it was amazing. Now they just throw it into a tub and weigh the tub, and they're like, okay, you got 780 tickets. I'm like, that doesn't seem like an accurate way to count.
Where is it? Space Aliens that just has a card now? They don't even give you tickets.
Yeah.
They just have a card. I'm like, this isn't even fun.
Part of the fun is running around with those armfuls of tickets being like, look at it,
Totally, yeah. Hoping you don't drop any.
Kids will never know.
No.
They just will never know.
Do you
Only
think
90 kids.
Do you think kids are addicted to credit cards? Are we just making kids addicted to credit cards by being like, here are your tokens and your prizes, right?
They're training them early?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's a really good way of thinking about it. I've never thought of it like that. Yeah. I think so.
I've got one credit card I use. And it's an Amazon points card.
Okay.
So when I spend money, I then can spend it on things on Amazon that I need. And this last year, I bulked up $300 worth of points. And I was like, man, this is awesome. Because I put everything on this credit card and I paid off at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And I used it all to buy my wife a Christmas gift that I don't think that she really appreciates.
Was it Bongos?
It was not. I think she probably would have liked the Bongos.
Oh, man.
I got her a purse and she was like, oh, okay.
Stop. She said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And you know what she gave me? She was like, your gift hasn't arrived yet. And so instead she wrapped up a bill that we have to pay. And it was like a joke. And I was like, this isn't very funny to me.
You should have hit her back with a, okay.
Okay. I think that I'd like to send a Christmas card next year that she's not in.
That's amazing.
Merry Christmas from JJ, the dogs.
Yeah.
No Jill. No Jill. That really sends a message, don't you think?
I think it would bring up a lot of questions.
Yeah. Right? Be like, is JJ back on the market?
Yeah. Oh.
What's going on?
Okay.
That's not the question you were thinking
well,
of?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
For,
yes.
Right?
Why?
At one point, I thought a really funny Christmas card would have been to say Merry Christmas from JJ, Jill, and then we had 2 cats, Kramer and Poopface, and then 2 dogs, Neely and George, and then Kevin, and we'd be holding a baby, but he wouldn't be our baby because we don't have one.
That's amazing.
And just get people to be like, I didn't know that they got a kid.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Totally.
And be like, no, we're just, he's hanging out. Kevin was just here for a little bit, and we include him in our Christmas card.
I think that's
Kevin's
really
great.
thoughtful. Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure Kevin would like it.
And Jill was like, well, I don't want my relatives to get confused. I said, if your relatives get confused because there's a baby in the picture that there wasn't previously, they deserve to be confused.
Send them my
right?
way.
Good, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
gosh.
Well, I know you guys have got some stuff to do, so, I'll get this wrapped up with you real quick. What are you looking forward to doing in 2020? Big plans?
I think this summer we've been able to expand where we've been playing and hopefully just to continue doing that.
Yeah, I wanna see new sights, do new things, make new music, keep doing what we did last year, but bigger and better.
All right. Take that Chuck E. Cheese tip and run with it. They're in almost in every major market.
That's a good point. I think we should be the first to do
The first live band. I think it could be big.
Yeah.
And then you could do things, after a song, you'd be like, if anyone is missing Timmy is at the front desk. Timmy's at the front desk.
Timmy has peed his pants. He needs his mom now. Anyway, this next one we wrote about.
If only we had tickets to sop up the mess.
Golly.
If only.
That's a great point, but now we have credit cards. What's that going to solve?
Right, exactly. You're just going to throw credit cards at that problem? That's another thing our generation's doing. They're just throwing money at problems. If people want to find you or know where you're playing, what should they do to get a hold of you?
For the stuff that we do together, they can find it on jessicavines.com. They can find us on Spotify, iTunes, on Instagram and Facebook, Jessica Vines Music, all that good stuff. For Connor's stuff,
I have a Facebook artist page and Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, to round out this evening, we have one more song from Jessica Vines and Connor Lee, and just shout out your favorite Christmas song and they'll play it.
Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. You nailed that one. Good for you, listener.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, they gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together if the fates allow. So hang a shining star above the highest yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Hello, JJ Meets World listener. It's your holiday host, JJ, talking to you right now. And I just want to say, I hope that everyone has a great holiday. I hope that this episode of JJ Meets World can teach you one important thing, which is you do not have to be happy about hosting a holiday party, but you do have to host it. A lot of times we get bogged down in the fact that we're too busy and there's all these things happening, but take a moment, walk outside, watch the snowfall, and just remember that everyone is a little bit happier this time of year. They're a little crazier, but they're also a little happier this time of year. And for the love of God, if you have kids, let them believe in Santa Claus as long as possible. A little bit of blind faith can go a long ways, especially in a world where somebody is watching over them all the time and making notes about them and then telling a bunch of other people about these notes. Your children will thank you as they grow up. And if you're alone this holiday season, remember that there are plenty of places that you can go to volunteer. There's plenty of places that would like to have you there. If you just want to be by yourself this holiday season, enjoy the fact that you're probably not working on Christmas Day. And since Christmas is midweek in 2019, you probably have to work on Thursday, so you can't even enjoy that much fun on Christmas Day. It sounds like a bummer, but it's a good reminder from your friend, Santa Claus Jr., a.k.a. the host of JJ Meets World, and a special ultra holiday greeting to my personal Grinch, Tucker Lucas, who produces this episode each and every week, and to all the people who showed up to the JJ Meets World Christmas party. If you're a previous guest and you didn't get invited, you know what you did. A huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring this podcast. Folks, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact Natalie Deutsch today, because Natalie Deutsch is not only a previous podcast guest, she's somebody who's going to care enough to sell your property for top dollar. She's also going to find you the best price possible if you're purchasing a new home. Last year on average, Natalie earned her clients $4,000 over list price on their homes and sold them faster than the market average. On average, Natalie's selling a home every 3.74 days. That's 2 homes a week. Those numbers don't lie. Find out why Natalie is one of the top agents in this entire market. Get a hold of her today, Natalie at hatchrealtyfm.com. You can also call 701-388-9338 or go on to livefargomoorhead.com. That's livefargomoorhead.com. Read all of her amazing reviews, and then listen to her episode of JJ Meets World. Thanks again to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode of JJ Meets World and would like to help us continue to produce 2 new episodes every week, you can donate to our Patreon. Check out patreon.com/JJ Meets World and donate today. Even as little as $1 a month can go a long way. Visit our website at www.jjmeetsworld.com or hit up our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the sites the kids are using these days. If you'd like to stay up to date on new episodes of JJ Meets World, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you consume the podcast that you love. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by checking out www.moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, go to linebenders.com, and you can find direct contact info for JJ. I don't know why people like eggnog so much. It's like you're eating uncooked batter for like a pancake.